Oh. Hello, everyone. Hello. I know. A different look. I hope you all like it. It took a while to grow out this hair. Let me tell you something, but it is. Ew! Oh God! I'm gonna have to return this. No, hello everyone. Welcome to another video. Welcome to the recording. It is I, your host, Mediaphile, and I am so happy to be. Oh my. Ah, what is this? Is this? Hold on. Oh my God, my hair. Oh. Oh my God, that is so funny. But hello, all of you. Welcome to another video. I haven't introduced myself. Why am I doing this? But no, I'm so happy to have all of you here today. All of the lovelies, all of the new ones, all of the older ones, the lords, the ladies, the knights, the wizards, the losers, the rejects, the rats. Hello and welcome all to my channel. This is a channel where we all talk very frankly how I go into various topics, various types of conversations and stories of my... the times of my stories that I spent in my own realm, coming forth from that dimension into this world. And yes, I decided to do things a little bit differently in this video. The mask I had from last time did work rather well. There's a reason why I wore that mask. You see, when talking about Jews, you have to be careful with your identity. Jews are very intelligent, very smart, and I don't want to be cursed again. So I had to wear a mask that covered the entirety of my face in order to allow me to properly conduct the information required for the video. So I am here. I am so happy. And this channel, of course, is one that we are meant to be happy in. When we can all discuss certain things, whatever we want, in a way that is both entertaining and yet informational. I welcome all of you who are new, all of you who are ugly, or gorgeous like myself. And let's just get on with it. So, a lot of things have happened today recently. Work has been rather dull, honestly. I had a slight run-in with, I was on my way to another gathering. And I went into a Minotaur on my way to work. It was ridiculous. Those are illegal. Those are high. Why are we doing, crime is on the rise. Crime is on the rise. I know you guys have all your crimes going on in your cities. California, New York, and, things like Chicago, whatever. There's no exception. Even in my room, there are things like crime, though it is rare. I believe the only crime that people are guilty of is being stupid. How many times has it gone to this high rate? Hybrids are illegal. Chimeras are illegal. You cannot be conducting these sort of things together. Man and a beast are also illegal. Yet people are still doing these sort of things. What, as a joke? Because the summer solstice is over. Now they want to welcome... Oh my God, Halo Z, whatever. It's absolutely ridiculous. I was on my way to a party, a soiree as it were. That's what we call it. But in truth, it was a meeting to understand... It is a meeting of elders. I'm not that old, trust me. I was invited. I really didn't want to go. They were going to discuss ways on how to improve, common relations between ourselves, the dragons, the nymphs, and everything else that is there. What sort of rules need regulation, what sort of rules need further restrictions, what sort of rules need to be perhaps pulled back a bit because they felt a bit too harsh, considering our judgment in past times. So I was there. We were trying to overturn a rule about the whole dragon situation we have going in my room. And I've spoken to all of you about it before in a previous video. So frankly, before, there was a combat, a war that occurred between ourselves and the dragons. I don't think it's got into issues. The dragons were arrogant at some point. I'm sorry. Truth bomb. Some people might call me controversial. It is bloody happening. We have dragons that are ruining the country, ruining the whatever. They could care less about other people, let alone their own kind. It is absolutely ridiculous. And look, again, I have nothing against dragons, nothing against lizards, I have nothing against rats. What I have against are people that are taking advantage of, others because of the vast wealth and the propensity for wealth. Things like, dragons, and I will go into a further thing on dragons. I feel like I need to, for the sake of, these series that are going on. I'm talking about many different subjects now. I spoke about jinns before and Judas and dangers it is. About having a lamp, having wishes and things like that. The cost it takes for the sort of things. Big summary / rant. And yeah, so we were under doing these rules. One of the rules was whether or not we allow hybrids of natural birth, which is a little rare, almost bullshit, to partake in school activities. Now, there's a huge issue. There are certain people that undergo these rites of transformation, that they want to make certain things permanent. Some people through accidents, through illegal experimentation, or perhaps no fault of their own, they were victims of illegal experimentation, became things like hybrids, minotaurs, sirens and mermaids, centaurs, all of that nature. So these sort of things happen, and then we have to go into this whole like almost week-long meeting to try and find out ways of coming up with rules to integrate them back into society. People are wary of that kind. Why? Because they're rare. 2, because they were deemed illegal. And 3, because their chemistry was combined with that of an animal. Their sort of behavior can be a bit erratic. But we have them go on a certain tests. We have them go through certain procedures that help amplify their will so that they are not overtaken by their animal instincts. So integrate them into the school became a thing of a problem. The last time we had a hybrid in the school, there was a borderline mauling. Another kid was gravely injured. One actually died. That was about 100 years ago. But apparently people like to sweep that on the rug because it was 100 years ago. In my realm, time goes by differently. But we were having this whole issue with hybrids over there at the school. We were teaching them a curriculum about it. And so the danger, the concern some of the elders, rightfully so, have with allowing hybrids to school is that they believe it is sort of encouraging people to undergo these sort of very dangerous transformations to be then integrated into society. Are there benefits to it? Yes. You have enhanced reflexes, enhanced things like strength. However, it comes at a cost. The people that undergo sort of hybrid experimentation become sterile. I won't even get into the whole prostitution racket because that's a thing. Disgusting! But no hate to anyone else. I know sex work is a bit of a thing right now. I'm not in full support of sex work because unfortunately, people will abuse that system and force others to undergo sort of, sex trafficking, trafficking of minors, which I do not support. It's a whole thing. If it was a responsible business where it was just adults involved, then I suppose why not? In other countries, it's perhaps a lot of that sort of thing. But where we are, it is not a likely possibility. So that is something that we are trying to work on right now. So yes, I'm holding the mask a bit forward. Not so that you can hear me, but because my face needs to breathe. I cannot breathe. You know what? Hold on. Yes. Woo! I feel so. I feel quite nice. I know this hair, it cost me a fortune, but I received a potion from another person at her nails beauty salon, and she was like, "Do you want fabulous hair?" I was like, "Yes." "Do you want a hair that'll make other people jealous?" I was like, "Yes." "Do you want hair as black as the night?" I was like, "Yes." And she got me this potion that allowed me to grow out this hair. It is quite marvelous. It is 100% real. You already know what I was going to say. Oh my god. It's real. It's so real, it's annoying. Oh, yes, but without further more delay, I want us to go into the first topic of what we're going to discuss. We are going to discuss Titans. Yes. So, Titans. So, I suppose all of you have had encounters with certain things like storms, blizzards, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, all of which can be natural causes. But in truth, when something is strong enough, it takes on the form of a titan. I will explain this further. In my realm, titans are things of legend, things of folklore and myth, but titans do exist in my realm. They take many forms, mostly natural forms, and manifestations thereof found within nature. These sort of titans are actually formed by confluxes of spiritual and raw magical energy that go together. And when they infuse into the natural landscape, it can create things known as titans. Titans come in a variety of forms and sizes. But traditionally speaking, a titan is a large creature, rather colossal in size, almost sky-piercing. Titans, for example, have been around since the dawn of time. There is another religion, or another sect. If you all remember before, I spoke about how the dragons believe, and there's the belief or the myth as to how the dragons created the world, or perhaps the universe in question. There was dragons, I believe I said 5 types of the different elements and things in it. They were put into the world, and it is through them that various things were born. However, because they became arrogant and because they're warring amongst themselves, the universe or the spirits that perhaps, I suppose, watch over it, decided to create a subspecies with power that could rival that of a dragon. Hello! So it is quite extraordinary. However, there is another belief system put in place that I believe carried over into your world. Thank you, Riff. Thank you, Pizza. All of those things, yes. And some of these creatures sort of leaked into your world, but through different means. What happened was that in the beginning, when the world was, I believe, forming, either from spirits or whatever, according to certain belief systems, certain customs, certain religious doctrines, or dogmas, let's be honest, Titans were these creatures that were used to sort of form the world as it was. And so wherever a Titan went, it sort of manifested itself and sort of manipulated the environment in which it was inhabiting. The Titans, the first ones, I believe, were the natural ones. They were things like earth, fire, and water. Wind was something that came afterwards, and somebody was an offspring of, I believe, earth and sky, or I believe earth and water, something like that. I don't know. It sort of gets a bit convoluted. But wind is an offspring. It is not a direct progenitor of certain things or the elements. These beings did not really create the elements themselves. They were the children of the elements. Something happened within the formation of the earth, within the foundations of the world, that the magical properties were so concentrated and so advanced that when the spirits were, some believe, at war, or I believe when they were, I suppose, super concentrated in a certain area of a particular magical type, ergo fire, ergo water, ergo eyes, ergo waffles, baby! That's what I ate for breakfast. But no, so it is said that when a large concentration of population of spirits inhabit a certain area, all channeling a certain type of elemental energy and magic, they sort of start to create this large tempest, a storm, whether it's in the earth, earthquakes, whether it's in the sea, tsunami, whether it's in the sky, hurricane. All of these sort of things and examples are the birth of a Titan. So, for example, I believe in your modern history, and it was quite fascinating. I was watching this YouTube. I believe his name is Love Lucas. Hello, Love Lucas. And I was watching his reactions to I believe, the huge tornado that went through Tuscaloosa, and some other parts of, I believe, the Midwest. And then he also looked up certain things about there was a tornado, a family of tornadoes that went across 3 states. This is real. This actually happened, and destroyed thousands of homes and hundreds of people lost their lives. That is a Titan. That is a type of Titan. And no, by any means, I am not sort of, downplaying the people that died. It was very tragic. But in my realm, in the spiritual realm, in the other world, the fact that it caused such destruction, and it sort of came out of nowhere, and it is a force that cannot be repelled by any sort of conventional means, this is in fact a Titan. The same thing with tsunamis. You have, and these are abnormal occurrences that happen every once in a while, but these are essentially offsprings of the elements. Large creatures. In Roman mythology, it speaks about Titans. You have things like Kronos. You have things like, I forgot what the one's name is. The woman that I suppose is supposed to be the earth. You have things like the wind, the water, even the blizzards. Those sorts of things are sort of, though they are inherently found in myth, they are essentially names given to storms or to natural disasters because of the sort of unnatural behavior. These sort of storms, these sort of things, even hurricanes, things like Sandy or Katrina, are examples of Titans. We call them hurricanes here because that is the local, the term for it. We give them all these names, and so through science and through examination, we find out, in a way, how these sort of things are born, how they operate, how they work. But in essence, they have a sort of behavior. That is why they invoke so much fear, so much destruction. That is why they cannot really be stopped. That is essentially a Titan. We give things names and we don't give them legitimacy as being proper beings. And a Titan itself isn't inherently intelligent. A Titan is a being of what's it called? Emotional and natural energies wound up in one. That was then charged or perhaps created, some believe, by spirits of a particular kind and magical and elemental inclination. When Titans are formed, a lot of things happen. Usually the atmosphere changes. When it's not in the atmosphere, it's in the earth. You feel rumblings and there's a ripple effect. Entire nature is essentially birthing these colossal children that are essentially devastating the natural landscape while forming it again or forming it anew. Some believe, and there are radical believers, that believe that the Titans are a necessary evil to help not only maintain balance in the world, but sort of keep the level of corruption within the world to a minimum. That is what certain people here also have an idea of. Whether you call it God's divine judgment or retribution, that is simply a sort of synonym for what this is. The attack of a titan. For example, if you have, I live in the Midwest for now, and there's always the impending danger of perhaps a tornado or anything else. They haven't hit in this time, but there have been occurrences. So, for example, what happened in Tuscaloosa was a freak show. It is extremely natural for something to be that powerful, but it can happen. And some fear that it doesn't. But the fact that it occurs about once per century, if not a little bit more, God forbid a bit less. Excuse me, I have to fix my hair. Hold on. Yeah. These sort of things are inherently titans. Why they form, we don't know exactly. How they form, we have an idea of, given the scientific perspectives. But I am no scientist in a natural sense. I am a mage, and I'm explaining to you the natural scientific things you see that can and are usually caused by things like magic. And just because you know how something works, and I've explained it in a previous video, does not mean it is not magic. Okay? These are sort of things that happen. But when we're talking about natural occurrences that have colossal, if not devastating effects to the financial stability of a country or nation, the amount of population you have, the devastation of crops, all of these things were caused by titans of legend, mostly found perhaps Roman, and maybe some other, perhaps Eastern or things like, belief systems. I believe the Celts may have had something similar. I don't believe they call them titans, but like I said, these are all belief systems. And they all sort of wrap around these natural disasters. Does that mean they are titans? I cannot say. Does that mean they're not titans? I cannot deny that. And so you have to come into reason here. So what I'm trying to inform you is how titans are birthed in theory, how they're acting in theory, and how they die, and as to why. The why could be, we believe, because the amount of spirits that were inhabiting a certain area have sort of decreased, and the manner that was charged within that atmosphere finally dissipated. Some believe that the reason why these storms are so severe, why these titans are birthed to begin with, is because the mana was sort of pooling in an area for far too much amount of time, and it wasn't, I suppose, leaked out. For example, right now, we have something what is known as the Ring of Fire that inhabits your realm. The Ring of Fire spans across the entire globe in a sort of circular pattern. That's why it's called the Ring of Fire. And along the edges of the ring are sorts of volcanoes. One of the largest volcanoes, perhaps, that we know of that is a volcano yet, is inhabiting what is known as the Yellowstone National Park, which is located within the Midwest of the United States, almost in a sense. I believe it's within Colorado or something like that. So, scientists believe that this is a large volcano, that the entire national park, which would probably be about the size of an entire state, I don't know which one, but that's essentially the mouth of the volcano, extremely massive. And so there is a large pool of lava. Lava, in my realm, is another type of, conflict or physical manifestation of mana, except it is very harmful to the physical wearer. You are able to sort of absorb the energy that the lava has because it is natural energy that is derived, because it is mana and magical energy that is derived from the natural energy, the natural mana that inhabits the world. Lava, though destructive, can also be used to create new life. It is able to create new lands. The soil in which lava passes over or volcanoes inhabit is extremely fertile, which is essential for creating things like life, for creating things like vegetation, nice crisp clear waters, though at the time they can be polluted. All of these things sort of coincide with each other. And so when talking about titans, you have to realize that titans is sort of a name that we give to sort of these storms. Whenever you see a giant storm falling overhead, things like thunderstorms, those are that's not really a titan yet. Thunderstorms can perhaps be the whisperings, or I believe the buzzings, or I believe it could even be the possibility of a titan being born. But unless it is a massive storm of massive proportions, and it is extremely destructive, only then can it truly be called a titan. It's a lot to take in, I know, but all these are sort of flying in, because it's things that I've observed, things that I have lived, and things that I have studied within my magical realm. Titans aren't things of myth. These are real things. Whether or not they are breathing depends upon your world. Like I said, sort of things were dulled over when they moved across. But some believe that the rifts that opened up in the world also allowed for certain magical energies that were fused with natural energies from my realm to enter yours. And so when that happened, it sort of changed the entire atmospheric landscape of your entire world. So when these sort of things happen, these conflicts happen, it creates these massive, massive events of destructive natural power that can essentially shape the world and the civilizations that inhabit it. There were civilizations that no longer exist. The fabled city of Atlantis was one that was said to have been swallowed up by the world. Recently, some people believe it was probably a city very advanced, I believe located in Africa somewhere. Near the shore, a couple hundred miles, I believe, inland. I want to say perhaps in the northwestern part of Africa. I believe. It's been a while. Somewhere like that. But some believe that it was a sea that, swallowed it up. So one would say, and some believe, and I know there's this whole thing with MCU and whatever, but somebody that it was the gods that grew angry or perhaps jealous of Atlantis. And so they sent a mighty tempest, a mighty wave. The sea opened up and swallowed the entire city. And so supposedly there are, things like markings, carvings, engravings, stones, sculptures that sort of point to an ancient civilization extremely advanced in technology and in culture that somehow disappeared overnight. Some people believed, I was one, that it was one of the Minoans or the Mycenaean cultures. It was a culture there that they sort of disappeared overnight, and that they were known for being by the sea a lot. And they had pretty good technology. They found things like aqueducts in South America and everything else. I'll go into that in another video. But it is absolutely extraordinary. So, what do you do when a Titan is nearby? Unless you're a mage of significant power, like myself, the only thing you can do is to seek shelter. You have to listen to the people that observe these Titans up close or from afar, that have their notes, and to follow what it is that they can provide. But when you're dealing with Titans, because they are creatures of nature, you need to figure out the natural opposite in order to seek shelter. For example, when you have the Titan of air, which is essentially a giant tornado or even a hurricane, which is essentially two Titans together. Some say it's two Titans fighting. I would hate to see that the case. But apparently, when you have something of the air, what's the proper word? I suppose the antagonizing magical force would then be Earth. I suppose those of you who are familiar with certain concepts that perhaps could be found in, anime or anything else, or in video games or whatever. Typically speaking, whenever there is a horrible wind, a cyclone, a tornado, a twister, a hurricane, you seek shelter within the mountains, within the rocks. Something that's not only heavy, but sturdy enough that it can resist the push and pull of the winds. Or you can even go underground, but you're still within the earth. It is the same thing when it comes to the sea. Now, it's a bit tricky. But the sea, because it inhabits all the earth, the sea doesn't really have a natural-born enemy. People say fire, but that's not really true. Fire is, I believe, its own element within the earth. All of these titans were created within the same mother. The mother can be the earth itself, or I believe Gaia, I believe in Greek mythology. And so they are all sort of complementing each other, but they can sort of conflict with each other in certain aspects. So when you have something like a tsunami, you seek a higher point. You seek the sky for shelter, because it's something like this, When you have things like the earth, you also seek the sky. Sometimes you could even seek the water. It's not an exact science, okay? But these are sort of things that you have to keep in mind. So what do we do when we are coming? Well, one of the things we do, depending on the nature or the strength of the storm or the Titan, we sort of just seek shelter and just let it do its business. Allow it to, stay its course. And then we sort of reinforce things with magical sigils, and then we ensure that, we are in a safe spot ourselves, and we just let it go about its business. Unfortunately, in my realm, these blasted things actually take physical form. It is quite scary. Imagine a giant pair of legs walking through your house. It is... Oh my God. I believe I saw one once in my entire life. And I believe it was the one of, I think it was a storm. I believe it was. It was so weird. So in my home back, hi Mom. So in my home back where I used to live at, we lived in this glade with a collection of about 50 to I believe 100 estates. And so several miles down we have the mountains. And the mountains are pretty far. though they are quite big and quite vast. Afterwards, there's no cap. And so you see the gonzas. Yes, the gonzas. So you see every now and then you see a rare glimpse of a dragon, you know, or perhaps a Papiscus. I will talk about Papiscus in another episode. Yes, Papiscus. You know, so but no. So we have these things, and I swear to you, I saw a cloud form from the mountains near the area. This was perhaps a mile or two from our establishment. A column came down, and the column sort of started to sprout legs. It was just walking. It was very ethereal in nature, but it was walking, and as it walked, it was destroying things. So think of a tornado in the same manner. A hurricane, a tsunami, everything else. It's very dangerous, but what we do, if we have one that's coming towards our settlement and is trying to destroy, what we do essentially is that we start engaging in sort of ritual practices, or I believe in sort of chants or prayers, as you call it. And we start fortifying certain areas, again, with sigils, stronger ones, even glyphs. And then in rare circumstances, we actually use offensive magic. So the way that looks like is that around each home, we sort of put a glyph around. We sort of put a glyph around the entire city if it's coming our way. So when that happens, it sort of erects a large invisible field set to shield the city. But if the storm is stronger than that, not only do we have to reinforce it, if the shields break, each of us has to stand in a sort of octagonal pattern, several miles away from it, and then we concentrate our energies from the center behind us towards us. And so we act as guardians of the city. We are the last resort. Some of these homes, you talk about rebuilding, but some of these homes are family homes. They've been around for thousands of years. They hold countless memories as well as magical influences in arcane mana. When mana in a structure is destroyed, it is released violently. So it can be very dangerous if a storm or something destroys one of these houses. These houses, when you have magical sigils put in place and they are overtaken or overpowered by another type of arcane energy, the amount of force that is released can be quite catastrophic. So we have to stand in front of these storms to protect not only our homes that sort of shield us, but to protect the surrounding areas and the neighborhoods, even the farmlands, the stalks. I live in a place where there's several farmers that use their estates as places where, you know, they grow crops locally. And then we have merchants that take those crops to another town that's probably located maybe, I want to say like maybe 24 to 50 miles away. We have one on the northeast side and we have one on the east side. Those are the two towns that sort of are near us. But when you have a titan that's coming through your town, or perhaps endangering the other ones, they have to follow the same protocol. And so these sort of things happen. Again, it is extremely rare that this happens. And yes, we do get regular storms. But when a titan starts coming around, and you can tell a titan by the amount of force it is generating, the wind that is being charged, the vegetation that is responding. When nature is responding to a natural element, when it is being destroyed, when it is being leveled completely, things are being uprooted, the seas are churning, and they're gone, that is a titan. If you have a twister that is staying longer than normal, that is spanning across 3 states, destroying houses, thousands of homes, killing hundreds of people, this is a titan, for lack of a better word. And again, I don't say this to diminish the lives or perhaps the experience of the people that are there. But when you consider the name of the synonyms of titans, and we have things like natural storms, how can you confront that and not say that it was like a monster? I've heard people describe these things as beasts, as a creature just came in the night and just ate everything. But it would skip certain homes and only attack you. It was pick and choosing its prey. The California wildfires are another one. That is a rare titan, by the way. That is a titan of fire and wind. The titan of fire is something that is very rare, but it does occur, I believe, every 100 years, perhaps every 50 years, or in your realm, let's be honest, almost every year. And it can cause thousands of types of damage and properties. I won't get into the conspiracy things behind that, but these are titans that you have to look out for. If you cannot combat it because the people here are lacking the expertise in utilizing their magic, because they're not able to properly utilize or channel their mana, the best thing you can do is to seek shelter. 1, by looking for the antithesis of the storm itself, the opposing force. 2, a neighboring force that is just as strong, that is able to allow you a way around the storm itself if it cannot confront it, combat it, kill it, destroy it, or perhaps block it. In the natural, perhaps the easiest sense. Or 3, you simply have to move out of the area. And that is the last resort that none of us want to do. So, like I said, the talk about titans, and this can go a lot further into the video. But unfortunately, I have to end it here. But this is sort of very serious. So we have a lot of things happening Storms are happening in the Midwest, coming down in the world, so much destruction. So I urge everyone to be careful, to be courteous, and remember to be kind, and that I love all of you. Know that I, Mediophile, am here chanting, asking for Pahalu's favor to visit all of you in your lives, to give you the strength, to give you the wisdom, to give you the understanding of how Titans work, of how your world works. Remember to channel your mana, to practice your spells in safety, to practice your chanting in safety, practice love, practicing safe sex, all of those things. And if you leave your brother in the cage, remember to feed him once in a while. Look after your pets, your family. Make sure you're studying really hard. Make sure you're practicing very hard as well, because we do need mages. We do need people that are strong in the magic, strong in spirit themselves. And if Pahalu is perhaps your guide, hello, brother. Hello, sister. I hope all of you are having a marvelous time, a marvelous week. I wish you all love, affection, and power. And remember that not only I love you, Pahalu loves you, but perhaps your creepy neighbor across the street might like you as well. Give him a call. I'm just joking. Sexual predator, call 911. No, seriously. Human trafficking. But no, this sort of went on a weird tangent. I don't know why I went this way, but this angle, kind of like it. Hello. So, leave a like if you like this video. Leave a like if you like this mask. And if you have perhaps any questions as to what I addressed, or perhaps any suggestions for a future video, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I love you all. Kisses, and remember, please shower responsibly, and when you're applying cologne, put it on the skin unless you have a skin irritation, because if it's on your clothes, it can cause issues. Goodbye, everyone.